Today's lesson is on ethics in computer usage. And the first question I want to ask you to think about is, what is ethics? Ethics is what's right and wrong. Ethics is your moral compass. And many times when we talk about things that are ethical or non-ethical in computer usage, doesn't always mean that they are illegal or against the law, but it is a sort of a inner code of what is right and wrong. And everybody has different degrees of what they feel is right or wrong, but these are just pretty common sense things of just in general what's right and what's wrong. We're going to look at three categories today, and those are privacy, property, and appropriate use. And after we look at these three, I'm going to let you look at a worksheet where you read some scenarios and you choose which category the scenario falls into. Is it a privacy issue, a property issue, or an appropriate use issue? So what I want to do is take each one and in detail describe it a little more so it makes a little more sense to you. And you might could be have a little bit easier time figuring out how to do the worksheet. Number one is privacy. So when we look at an issue that relates to privacy, as an ethical issue in computer usage. And when I say computer usage, I really should say technology, which could include your phones, iPads, laptops, gaming consoles, anything like that. So number one, privacy. To be a privacy issue, it needs to answer one of the two questions. Does my use of the technology violate the privacy of others? Or am I giving information to others that I shouldn't? Now, most of us usually don't have a hard time understanding that if they're giving out information over the computer or device, technology device, if they're giving out information that's personal, that's private, most people know that's a privacy issue. You've been told from a young age, don't give out your phone number, your address, any kind of personal information about yourself. It just is not a safe thing to do. But another issue could be, does my use of the technology violate the privacy of others? And so the privacy of others could be, for example, maybe I'm snooping in somebody else's email, or maybe I'm over at a friend's house and they went out of the room and I get on their phone and start reading their messages. That's still violating someone's privacy. So either one of those would be privacy issues. Number two is property, and property is can be different things, and we're going to talk about that, but it needs to answer the question, do my actions respect the property of others, and am I taking the correct steps to keep my property safe? So a property issue, obviously if you stole someone's property, something that they owned, that would be a property issue, if you stole their phone or if you stole their device. But property can also be things that we own that we've created in our minds, such as if I write a paper, then I own the rights to that. I own that because I created it. So if someone stole a paper from me, that's a property issue because they stole my property. They stole what I created, what I owned. Likewise, if someone stole answers on a test from me, or if someone stole music that they didn't pay for, those could be property issues. Okay, and last, number three is appropriate use, and I think most of us know what it means to use something appropriately. It needs to answer the question, does this use of the technology have educational value, and is it in keeping with the rules of my family, school, and government? And what that looks at is, for an example, are you using something the way it was intended to be used? So for an example, you have an iPad that you are issued for school use to use in the classroom on your assignments, on your schoolwork. But if you were taking that iPad and you were using it to do something it wasn't intended for example, if you were making pictures of somebody in class and trying to use it to mark up on their face and make fun of them, then that's obviously an appropriate use issue. It's other issues too, but it definitely is not what that device was intended or designed to be used for. So that could be anytime you're using some technology, whatever it may be, outside of the way it was intended to be used, then you're not using it very appropriately, and that would be the case there. There are times where some of these can be multiple issues, so it is a possibility that you may have some that could be privacy and appropriate use, or could be property and appropriate use. So there are times that it is possible that they could be more than one thing. And in that case, when you do the worksheet, I would give you credit for either one if you have one of the correct answers listed. Okay, so those are your 3 categories of ethics and computer usage. And now it'll be time for you to do your worksheet.